guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and in this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, we are giving a festive spin to an incredibly easy classic pancakes. We're making eggnog pancakes. Now, these are so easy to make, but I thought it'd be perfect for this time of year because they are not only delicious and easy to make, but you can make the whole batch like I'm gonna make today. I'm gonna pop them into the freezer, and then anytime I want them, I can take some out, pop them in the microwave, and I have freshly baked pancakes in the middle of the week when I'm feeling down in the dust because it is not Christmas yet, but I want to have something a little bit more special and festive for breakfast. These are the thing to go to, and again, if you just keep them in the freezer, they're so easy to thaw in the microwave. The ingredients for these are basic and simple ingredients, which you might already have on hand. You'll need all-purpose flour, granulated sugar, baking powder, salt, some eggnog, which I'll talk about in a minute. You'll need some milk. This is just 1% milk. You can use whole milk, low fat, doesn't matter. Egg yolks, vanilla extract, some nutmeg, and you'll need the egg whites. I just took 2 eggs and separated them. Now for the eggnog, if you want a really good eggnog recipe, www.laurainthekitchen.com has you covered. I love my eggnog recipe because it's so simple and easy, but this is actually store-bought because my husband went out to the liquor store to get me some wine for a recipe and came back with a carton of eggnog, and I had some left over, so I figured I'd share this recipe with you and use up what I had left. So let's get started. Now in here, I've got my all-purpose flour, I've got sugar, baking powder, and salt, and to this I'm gonna add some nutmeg, which for me, anything eggnog has to have nutmeg in it. And now nutmeg is one of those spices that I prefer to grate myself. I think freshly grated nutmeg tastes 10 times better than the stuff that's already grated in the package. So I'm just gonna grate about 1/4 teaspoon of this, but you can really go as heavy or as light as you want. Just keep in mind that nutmeg can be pretty strongly flavored, so I think a 1/4 teaspoon for this whole batch is plenty. That's good enough. Great, that's got a little tiny bit left over. I'm just gonna whisk these together just to get the dry ingredients combined. Nothing too fancy, done. How easy was that? Now what I'm gonna do, now what I want is for these pancakes to be not only delicious, but I want them to be really fluffy. Now what I like to do to achieve that is to whip my egg whites separately from the egg yolks. That way it really gives a lot of air, a lot of bubbles, a lot of layers of fluffiness into the pancake. It's phenomenal. And I do the same thing with my buttermilk pancakes because the buttermilk can be quite thick, and so is the eggnog. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use my handy dandy hand mixer and whip these up until they've got nice stiff peaks. These look good enough. My grandma says if you can flip them over your head and they don't fall out, then you know that they're stiff peaks. Did I just freak you out? You know, you thought it was gonna fall on me. I know you thought that, but that's okay, I forgive you. All right, let's get started. I've got my grill pan here preheating to about medium heat, because I don't want that to get too hot, otherwise it'll burn the outside and it won't cook the insides. Now to my eggnog, I was gonna say to my milk, but to my eggnog, I'm gonna add in my egg yolks. I'm just gonna give the egg yolks and the eggnog a brief little mix together with some vanilla extract. Whoa, that's a lot of vanilla, but that's okay. I love me some vanilla extract. I'd say about a 1/2 teaspoon should do the trick. If you happen to put in a teaspoon like I did, then the more the merrier in this case. Give that a quick little whisk. Bring my dry ingredients over to me. I'm gonna add in my eggnog and egg yolk mixture. And I'm gonna give this a whisk, and I'm gonna add a little bit of whole milk to this because the eggnog is absolutely delicious, but so thick that it just doesn't have, it's too thick. So you need to thin it out a bit by adding some whole milk, or fat-free or low-fat, whatever you've got. I happen to have some 1% because that's just what I have for my morning coffee. So I'm gonna add, I'd say, about a 1/4 cup to this, 1/4 to a 1/2 cup. Just start a little bit and work your way up. This is looking good. Yeah, this is looking really, really good. Probably just another little smidge of milk. So oil in total probably took about a 1/2 cup. Get that incorporated well, and this is already smelling really, really good, and we haven't even hit the griddle pan yet, so yum, yum. And you could add some toasted pecans in the batter if you wanted to. I'm not going to. I'm gonna keep them as is. I'm not gonna try and add anything else because I really prefer these the way that they are, and they're just delightful. I'm gonna take my egg whites, and I'm going to fold these in to my mixture here. And what I do, whoops, to make sure that it's like well blended, I just start from the middle and fold over. Middle, fold. That's how you fold egg whites in, because you don't want to do this too quickly and whisk, 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 because you will deflate the egg whites, and that's just, you know, what's the purpose of having, of whipping them if you're going to just deflate them. So this looks great. Now I'm going to set this batter aside for about 5 minutes while my grill pan here, my griddle I should say, is preheating. I'm going to clean up. It's best to let the batter rest for about 5-10 minutes. And while that's doing that, I'm going to clean up, and then we'll get ready to make our actual pancakes. Batter is looking perfection. I've got my griddle here preheated. I sprayed it with a little non-stick spray. You could use vegetable oil, or honestly, if you're using a non-stick griddle, you don't need to add anything in general, because it's going to just be perfect. I like to use a 1/3 cup measuring device here, and that's going to give me perfect size pancakes. And I'm just going to put that down, and these are just going to take a few minutes on each side to cook. You'll know when they're ready to flip when the surface of the pancakes just gets little bubbles all around, then you'll know it's ready to flip. But it really shouldn't take any more than about 3 minutes or so per side. It just happens really quickly. You just want to make sure you keep your eye on them. Last of the pancakes coming off. I'm going to put this last one right on my plate. Now, as you can see, it makes a huge batch, but again, you can keep these. What I like to do is I like to take them all, put them on a baking sheet, all of them in one layer, pop them into the freezer until they're frozen solid. Then you can just go ahead and put them in a Ziploc bag, and anytime you want homemade, freshly pancakes, you can pop a few of them into the microwave, and they're warm and delicious, and it's just like making fresh pancakes right then and there, except you already did all the work ahead of time. So I'm going to go ahead and dig into one of these because they smell fantastic. Look at that. I'm just going to go ahead and use, oh, they're like fluffy. Look at that. If you could just come up close, you can see the fluffiness and the specks of nutmeg. The smell. Subtle, but delicious. Absolutely love these. Serve these with some really good warm maple syrup, and you have got breakfast of champions. I can't help myself. Perfect for the holidays. Go to laurainthekitchen.com to get this recipe. Hope you've enjoyed spending time with me. I'm going to go have breakfast for dinner because it's technically dinner time, but I'm having breakfast. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Ready?